I have this insane urge, instead of doing that, to turn the light switch off and then back on again. We are going to have Reverend, is that it? Mark Reardon do our invocation for us.
Bow your heads with me if you will. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussions, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of the community. Lord, I pray that your hand is upon the school board, the teachers, faculty, and the students this coming year for success and gratitude. I ask that you continue to remind us that all we do here today is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of the community. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Will you all please stand and join me in the flag salute? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm going to call the meeting to order, and we will begin with our roll call.
Here.
Here.
Here. Here. Here.
That brings us to item number 3 already. Look how we're doing here. Okay,
Me,
Dr. Superintendent, go.
Dr. Superintendent. So, all right, what are we like? A little over a month, about a month into school, and it's been a good start. I will say that there's some energy in some of our buildings that is excellent. There's also some energy that, just like every building we could live without sometimes. But just a few comments. We had talked about, I know one of the popular Facebook things is transportation. Every school, every year, every district, first 2.5 weeks is always a mess. I will like to give shout out to Christy and her group for the time they put in, the patience with trying to get the kids where they need to go on the right buses, all those things. It's just always a thing when you have 10,000 kids and you're trying to get them different places. Things happen, but they've really worked hard to get things back on track, and it's much smoother. Nothing is really ever perfect, but they do a really good job. And if anybody out there knows of someone who would like to drive a bus, we have buses available that we don't have drivers for, and they can earn some pretty good money doing it. So there's that. We and I won't go too long on this because a couple of you might want to talk about it. We had our first win of the new era in football this week. It was a good game. We had a really good game. It was close. There to the end, we had a volleyball team. Our high school volleyball team took the Noble volleyball tournament championship. Is that not right?
Yeah.
Isn't that right? Yes. I think that's what Mr. Henson said this morning. There's a couple of things that are going to come up in the consent docket that before we vote on it, I'd like you to let me kind of elaborate on. But last thing I want to talk about is really super cool. Melissa just sent us an email today. We're so excited that we now have another National Merit finalist, semi-finalist at the high school. Her name is Angelina Thomas.
Oh, Angelina.
And one of the things that we do for our National Merit semi-finalists is we make sure that they are awarded a academic, letter jacket. Yeah, so that's on the district. We want to make sure we support them and really honor that. That's a big deal. So we purchase them their own special letter jacket, and whenever that is, I don't even know when that takes place. So yeah, that's all I will talk about for now and throw it back to the board.
Okay. That's exciting. Anybody remember how long it's been since we've had a National Merit?
2 years, yeah.
2? We've had 2? Has it been 2 years or we've had 2 people? 2 years. Okay. I love that. Okay. We are going to begin a 30-day public comment and review of updated policies with the intent of a second reading and board action on October October 2nd, 2023 at the regular board meeting. And you can find these policies by going to yukonps.com, about YPS, board policies, and then pressing click here to access our policy review tracking site, policy GK, regulations GK-R1 and GK-R2. I never knew in 7th grade geography, when I was learning how to do outlines, that would be the basis for everything I did the rest of my adult life. But it sure was handy, and I'm glad she was so awful about it now. Okay, so we're going to have board member communications and announcements, and we'll start with Mr. Sanders.
Yeah, I'm glad you left me some time to talk about the football team. So it was a great game on Friday. Showed a lot of resiliency. Came back to win. That was really come back to win. We almost gave it up in the fourth, but them being able to show the grit and finish out that game, that was something we haven't seen in Yukon in a while, and it was a lot of fun to watch. So next game, Norman North Friday. It's a away game. Anybody can make the travel. Should keep this train rolling. Let's get there. Help me out with this, Jason. We talked about the school buses was something I was also wanting to talk on. I know that we've had a lot of public comment on them, and we are constantly in conversation to make it better. Can you touch on some of the things we've talked about and ways that we're going to improve our transportation? I know we've talked about some passes and things like that and other issues.
Well, generally speaking, one of the easiest way to make it better is hiring bus drivers, which is we have tons of opportunity there for folks. And I know, and Christy has, and Mark, you can jump in anytime you want with this. Christy has a really, she's been very, very responsive this year, I believe, in the complaints and issues that we set there. Some of the times, I know that early on, there was a couple instances in your neighborhood where it looked like the intermediate and elementary schools were picked up on same bus, but we made sure those were separated. We're working on keeping those separate, which reduces time. The communication, I think, is the biggest piece, as they know where the routes are. How many new drivers do you think we have annually? Any clue on that? I don't know. 20 new drivers. That
3 more today.
and 3 more today. So that alone is a process of ensuring those routes. They have a great system as far as the technology, the routing system, but just the numbers and the neighborhoods and the changes is really the first of the year.
As a board, our biggest issue is probably going to be retention and recruitment. Would that be something to look at as a
For
school
bus
district?
drivers?
Yes.
100%. Yeah. We were actually in a meeting the other day with some folks from Mustang, and we were about the weapon detection system. We were kind of looking at some stuff, and they're like, "We got to go." I was like, "What? It's transportation time." So it's not unique to Yukon. It's unique to school systems in general. One of the things that we probably, again, I'll refer to Mark and Diana and Adam and Scott about our stops, our bus stops. It's 1.5 miles is where you can, and we make some allowances every now and then if for some close people they can walk there, but even at 1.5 miles, we're still strapped for people to hit those routes.
Yep.
Yeah, and our buses are great. I mean, our buses are air conditioned, and
It's
so
something we'll continue as a district to look and improve
Yeah,
and figure out what we can do.
And
Also, you touched on the weapon detection systems. We rolled those out. Those seem to work. The trial runs. We haven't rolled the full, but the trial, it seems like the fans of Yukon have done a great job as far as abiding to some of the new policies and stuff. And
they really did. Yeah.
And the policies don't have to be exactly fixed, right? We can look, see what's working, revisit things,
Yeah.
and figure out what works for.
So
for
this
us.
is a new thing for lots of people. Needed, never wanted. I would say that's a good aspect. Like Mr. Beheimer sent me a message today about drinks. We'd already been in the discussion. We're going to alter that to be, what did we say? We were going to alter to be unopened bottles of water.
I mean, people like water.
Yeah, we can, unopened bottles of water is fine. You can bring that with you, but we don't want people concealing liquids that might not be legal on school grounds. And so that's one of the things that we're going to change for our upcoming thing. Miss Kayla will be, in the next couple of weeks, we'll be making some really wider information, maybe videos about the process so that it's easier to access. But they did great. I mean, everybody was really good at the first game that we had. And there was this one lady who was, I think she had a mini Miller. She came up and I was standing there by the gate. And she said, "I'm really thankful you did this." That's not what I thought she was going to say at first when she approached me, because you just don't know. She said, she said, "I was nervous. I didn't think I was going to come tonight." And then we put out that. And so felt good bringing her little girl to the little cheer thing.
All right. Might
Yep.
get the rest of my time.
Okay, Mr. Beheimer,
No comment.
Brian,
I don't have anything to that.
Mr. Wells.
Okay, I'll
You-
take up
you
their
got
time.
band stuff.
Yeah.
I did not relinquish my time to you.
I've got a couple of pages.
Too
here.
late.
Couple of pages here. I'll get started real quick. First thing I want to do is really thank the community. We had, back in August before school started, we had a couple of events that were really supported by the community, and that's the new teacher luncheon and the all employee breakfast. But they support us tremendously, the businesses, organizations, and individuals. And they don't do it just those 2 times during the year. They do it throughout the year. And I just wanted to make sure that you can never say thank you too much for when people do that kind of stuff for you. I did enjoy the breakfast a little bit. It was, I wound up sitting at a table that was sponsored by Beta Beta chapter of the Oklahoma State Organization of Delta Kappa Gamma Society International. I had to read that because I couldn't remember all of that. I've always heard it referred to as Beta Beta, but it's a group of professional women educators that really supports the school district. And they had a table, and as like all the tables, they provide some things for each of the employees that sit at the table. And I took the stuff home. Usually it's things that they can use in the classroom or something like that. But they had actually done something that people could use outside the classroom. There was a little container and opened it up. There was several gift cards in there. And so I thought, well, they probably didn't really intend to give for a board member to get that. So I started doing a little checking, and I found that we had a new teacher that was hired after the breakfast. And so I got that, gave that stuff to the principal to give to that teacher. However, the new teacher didn't get everything. I ate the muffin, so it was gone. Okay, next item, August 24th through the 26th, all of us, I think, made it to at least part of the OSSBA conference, Oklahoma State School Board Association. And we had a really neat keynote speaker. His name was Dr. Adolph Brown. And really, he looked like somebody that they needed to throw out of the conference the way he was dressed. But by the time he was through, he had everybody just really listening to him, and he told pretty much his life story, and it was really good. One of the sessions that I went to, I won't try to cover all of them. There was a lot of different good ones to go to, but one of them that I thought was really interesting, and it was had to deal with NIL. That's name, image, and likeness. You know, most of you have probably heard about that at the college level, but I had no idea that it was down to the high school level. And so there has been legislation, and then there's been guidelines put out by the Oklahoma Secondary Activities Association. And I think there was a hint in that meeting that we may have to have some policies, local policies. Do you know whether we're going to have to do that, or?
We may. I know there's the OSSAA. Most of it's sent through them. They provide the stuff. We really can't get involved. Basically, is the only thing. We can't promote or recruit. It's done all through people outside.
Yeah, it was quite interesting, and you know, basically the guidelines, I read through them real quick, but basically the kids can get paid for things as long as it's not tied to them going to school at your school or they're not, that's not doing anything that.
There was a young lady from Piedmont a year or so ago that had a bat contract.
Really?
I don't know what it, that's all I know. I don't know how much.
Okay, moving on. One of the last things at the conference was they have an awards part of the conference, and Southwestern Oklahoma State and Yukon Public Schools were recognized with the Barbara Lynch Community Partner Award for partnering with Yukon School, or Southwest was partnering with Yukon Public Schools. I'm going to read briefly the write-up here because I thought it was good. And it says Barbara Lynch Community Partner Award. Southwestern Oklahoma State University recent partnership with Yukon Public Schools has helped more than 60 employees reach their academic goals and obtain an education-related degree. In 2019, YPS partnered with Southwestern OSU to create a memorandum of understanding that provides a tuition reduction for district employees who desire to earn their undergraduate or graduate degree in education. The partnership also extended to Yukon students, student body, allowing high school students to earn concurrent or dual credit courses through the university. Since the partnership's began 4 years ago, the cost savings for YPS teachers and staff has reached $304,000, with participants taking advantage of a 50% discount for tuition. So I thought that was pretty neat that, most of us have all known about that, but it was recognized at the state level. September 1st, new teacher tailgate party. I enjoyed that. Got to visit with one young new employee, and after we talked for a little bit, I realized that she was a friend of both my two granddaughters that went to school out at Surrey Hills, and we just had a nice visit. And I always like to see it whenever we hire some of our homegrown teachers. And then the groundbreaking was after that, and that's kind of a special event. I've never been involved in one of those before, so
That was kind of fun.
It'll be good to see the real dirt moving out there. Our little shovels didn't do too much.
You know, we have a couple of teachers doing SWASU administration right there.
Oh, cool.
One last thing, and it's partly been mentioned, but September 8th I watched a very good football game. Of course, Yukon came out the winner. We've already talked about that. But because of the upset win over Stillwater, Yukon was named Channel 9's TV Week 2 Blitz High School Team of the Week. Thought that was neat that they were recognized. Also that evening, it was just, I thought it was a class act when we recognized our veterans. And of course, the band did an outstanding job.
Of course.
That's it.
I think the veterans thing was very moving. It was very, very nice. And our very own Wes McAtee had the Patriot Riders come out and they brought the flag in. And it was really, really very cool.
We'd like to ask that if you're in the audience, that you could please silence your phones. Jim.
Don't
And
look
that-
at me.
Oh,
Jim, the next time you have to dance.
I've
He's
been in
gonna do the
meetings where
Dougie.
if you didn't.
I've never seen you squirm so
You had
much.
to put $20 in the
The
pot.
pot?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, that's a good idea.
You know, Jim, if you keep your composure and you actually just pick it up and hit the button on the side, you don't have to look like you just did. That was pretty funny. Thank you for that moment.
Jim's about to just retire. He's about to just walk out. Like, I'm done.
Okay, I'd like to encourage everybody to go to Dr. Adolph Brown's website and watch some of his presentations. It is so good. I saw him in Washington, D.C. when I was there with the OSSBA, and it took us 2 years to get him here. And so he is so good. And he's also on a television show about parenting with Allie Wentworth. I can't remember the name of it, but he looks like a totally different person on there. But he's got several books, so I would like to encourage you to access that resource if you can. There's a streaming site for the football games. Is that ref.com?
KREF, KREF.
KREF. So we can stream those games if we can't make it to the away games. I don't think they'll be able to hear us yell though, but that's okay. Did you know that other school districts across the state are watching our meetings? I did not know that. At the state conference, I had several people come up and say, "Oh, hi, Mrs. Cannon." And I'm like, "Oh, what is your name? Say your name is." And they're like, "Oh, I watch your board meetings all the time, and I see you every month." And so anyway, it's kind of exciting that we have a reach that far, and I think also we are being a role model for some of the other districts to look at how we do it. I think everybody does it a little bit differently, but that was kind of exciting. The band program this year is going to be great. It doesn't seem to be as complicated, but the light stuff and all that, it's going to really be good. And they've got a competition coming up in what, 2 or 3 weeks? No, next month, October, in Indianapolis. What is it? Bands of America.
Yep.
So that'll be cool to see that happen. And I want to talk about our football game, but I want to talk about the first football game. I don't want to talk about the one that we won. I want to talk about the one that we lost, because I didn't consider it to be a loss at all. We came into that game the week after the shooting at Choctaw High School. The tragedy around that, there were 4 shootings at schools that weekend. And the tragedy about that, we just can't understand the magnitude of that and what that does to the families and the schools and the districts. And that's kind of become normalized, because it happens all the time. And that just makes me mad. And so when I got to the game, there was energy and there was excitement in the air. And it was the parents, it was the kids, it was the spectators. I have not felt so much energy at a game before it even started. And we had the new security measures in place, and I didn't hear a single person complain about it. I was told there were some people who complained about it, but for the most part, everybody was really happy that it was there. And again, that makes me sad and mad that we have to do that and that that's becoming our new norm. Don't like it, but I guess it's what we have to do because we are committed and determined to do whatever it takes to keep our kids safe. And I'm going to be out there and I'm going to be walking around and we're going to do it. The kids that night had on camouflage hats and, like safari hats. And they were so happy. They were having such a good time. And as I was walking around, actually, I was walking down to the end to kind of wave at my grandson and probably embarrass him. He's like, "Oh God, there's my grandmother." But anyway, I talked to a fireman standing there, and it turned out that everybody on the shift that night was at our game. And they are going to start coming to all of our games. They were here last week too. And the community involvement has been incredible with the people who are coming, the people who are supporting our kids, the level of enthusiasm and excitement that's going. And our kids may have lost that game on the scoreboard, but they had scores on the board. And I was so excited to see them having a good time and playing football. And we got to have our Friday night lights and it was the way it was supposed to be. So I didn't really consider that to be a loss. I thought it was a huge win for our team, for our community. Even though the score said they lost, I think they won just simply because of their determination and their excitement and their dedication. They have been working really, really hard. But with that said, I don't want to not acknowledge our volleyball team, baseball, swimming, tennis, all the other sports. But this one is very visible. And that first game, I was excited. And I don't care that they lost. I was excited. And I think it's going to be a great year for all the kids and for all of us. That's all I have to say tonight. Thank you very much, and I apologize for talking too long.
It's their fault. They yielded their time.
Yeah.
Can I take some of my
know.
time back? I was just
That time.
I changed my
We'll
mind.
never
I
get that
too
time back.
want to talk about the football game. There was a great 7th grade football game that I went to the other day,
Cool.
and it was a victory for the boys, and it was fun to watch because they're all just kind of
Uh-huh.
terrible and good at the same time.
Yeah,
It was fun to watch.
that's great. We know that last game, I think we won it in the last 10 seconds. Talk about a nail biter. Ooh. All right, so let's see. We have upcoming meetings and events. Is that up there? Yep. Okay, our next board meeting, legislative breakfast, parent-teacher conferences, fall break, Region 10, OSSBA meeting is in El Reno on October 24th. So that's pretty much it for that. Any questions? No? Okay. We will move on to, do we have anyone who's requested? No? Okay, no one's requested to address the board. The finance consent docket, we will discuss, consider and approve or disapprove by one vote unless somebody wants to pull something out. Are there any questions, or does anybody have anything they want to pull out to talk about?
I had a few questions, but I got my answers and I'm satisfied.
Okay. No?
Make a
Mr.
motion, we
Beeheimer, are
approve
you
6A through 6C.
Second.
Okay. Vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Our business consent docket is item
Lengthy.
7.
There's a lot of clubs on here. So just a few things I wanted to highlight
Okay.
on this one. One was there's the OLAP vote that is part of it. And basically by approving, when you approve the whole docket, you're voting yes to retain the people that are currently serving in those positions. And that's the Oklahoma's Promise. It's about scholarship tuition for kids to get college tuition. So that's there. The other was, one of the things that new on here was the baseball turf for the infield at the high school. We were able to, this was, I think it was originally set for summer 24, summer 25, but we've moved that forward, and being able to do that, we're doing that, and we're going to start with the infield, and that should be finished by opening day, which we're real excited about. Coach Phillips was thrilled because 90+% of the games that are canceled because of rain, it's the infield. The outfield it's got sufficient drain, so we're gonna start with that. We're also in the process of doing some quotes and getting some for a scoreboard at the high school football field, getting that replaced, along with possibly a new video board in the gym. And those are really the two big things I wanted. The big thing is, expense-wise, is the turf. It's about $640,000, where doing the whole field was a little over 1.6, so basically 1.7 million. And we're comfortable doing the infield right now and waiting till whenever the time was on the original bond to see where all of our stuff comes in, our expenses with our indoor facility and our high school new renovations there before we jump off for that other million or 1.1 million. But yeah, so we're moving in that direction. Those are two of the big things on there. And then a lot of the, what is it? What are they called, Deanne? I lost my mind. Sanctioning things, right? Fundraisers, yes, lots of fundraisers, yes.
I think we talked about the baseball field kind of more in depth versus doing just the infield versus doing the infield and the outfield. You know, we did a different bid process this time. Can you kind of elaborate on that? Because
Sure.
usually we do things, we bring in a bid and we said we do the infield. Well, it usually makes sense to do the infield and outfield together while we've got everybody at once, because if not, we're going to end up paying more money down the road to have them come back out now and then do the outfield.
Right. So the infield will actually consist of the infield, the foul lines, permanent foul lines, the bullpens are also part of that. And it is about 10 feet out into the outfield to prepare for that transition. It's the cost right now is more than just flat out more than we have allocated right now. It's $1.7 million. And the important part of what the infield does is it allows them to play so many more of the games that they get rained out on. The purchasing part of it is we're a member of Buy Board, and we have another purchasing co-op that we're a part of. And so the turf is there in that. And one of the things that this process allows us to do through state contracts is choose the vendor, so that oftentimes when you bid, you may get a really low bid from or even a competitively low bid from a company you don't recognize, and without rationale to not choose them, we were forced by law to take them. We kind of suffered through some of that with the softball field. The people that won the bid, what's the word I'm looking for? We're not, didn't do as good a job as we think they should have. And we had to wind up spending, I think it was another $20,000 approximately for repairs and corrections afterwards. And it was a cluster. I don't even remember how, it threw us back probably what, a month or so on starting getting to play our home field that softball season. But through this, we get to choose the installer who's done the track at the middle school. He fixed our turf. Did he do our middle school turf? I don't think he did the turf, but he's done our tracks. He's done our track repairs. He's done a lot of other schools in his company. And so we are very, very comfortable with him. And then the product, we've sent it to Brian and Ryan and Mark, and they've all sold on the product as well. So after tonight, we'll say, congratulations, get started. And luckily they have a field that they can practice on up top while we get this done in the off season.
Okay, anything else? Okay, I would entertain a motion for 7A through N. For the business consent docket.
I'll make a motion, we approve 7A through 7N of the business consent docket.
Second.
Vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Do we have any new business?
No, ma'am.
Personnel docket, we need to vote to convene or not to convene an executive session pursuant to 25 OS 307B1 to talk about the superintendent's contract, resignations, employment of support and certified personnel, promotions, recommendation of change of assignment, and/or transfers as listed on the attached Exhibit A. Do I have a motion, please?
I move that we convene in the executive session.
Thank you, Mr.
I'll second that.
Okay, Cody second. Vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. Be back.
guess I can get rid of mine too. Gotta sign anything. Just information.
Is that Mario Brothers?
Put it on the corner there.
Jason, is it meetings I'm supposed to click on? Wait and show me. You guys wonder why it takes me so long to get the next item. It's because my screen keeps scrolling up and down.
I think we're on item adjournment.
That's the second item. That's what I've been doing. is that
Want to borrow mine?
one. Wonder why is it going up and down still? Jason McDaniel's been making my computer do weird things remotely.
I'll let Jason Danis to do the pledge. of
Okay,
allegiance
I'd like
next
to acknowledge the board has come back from executive session.
So
There
funny to
were
me.
no votes or actions taken. Um, We have discussion and possible action on attached Exhibit A personnel items. Is there any discussion or anything? Are there any motions?
I'll make a motion to approve the personnel items as presented on Exhibit A.
A second.
Okay. Vote please. That's on 9C, correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
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 Yes. And I believe now it's time for the Beehive.
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I second.
You have to vote still.
Yes.
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 Yes.